Let's get to it, man.
Through the back of the garden of the house, there's a woman in
19 minutes, man. Get your popcorn.
there with her daughter, and she screamed because just imagine this big 6'2" guy just running inside your house. At this point, I should have just given up. I don't know what I thought I was doing, but then they broke in the door. The officer gave me one punch. I think that's the hardest punch I've ever felt. Like hit me to the floor, and they just started beating the shit out of me.
One Bobby to the next.
Bobby, where did you grow up and how was your early childhood?
I was born in Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, known then as Zaire. I came to the UK aged 3. Grew up originally in Dulwich for like the first maybe year in Britain. And then where I mainly grew up was Peckham, South East London. On the
Fire for that. That was crazy. Nah, that was pause, bro. Nah, there ain't no reaching foul. There ain't no reaching foul, my nigga. There ain't no reaching foul. Like, comment, subscribe, follow the kick.
Year in Britain. And then where I mainly grew up was Peckham, South East London on the Gloucester estate.
And what were you like as a kid?
I was energetic, I was chatty, quite intelligent. I was always in the top set in school, very good at football. In year 4, I actually played for the year 6 team. Growing up in Peckham at the beginning was fun. I was oblivious to where exactly I was. I grew up in the Gloucester estate, the year 6 team. Growing up in Peckham at the beginning was...
Peckham!
Actually played for the year 6 team. Growing up in Peckham at the beginning was fun. I was oblivious to where exactly I was. I grew up in the Gloucester estate, but at the time when you're...
Yo, gangster, bro. Real shit, though. When you a kid, growing up, you could be growing up in the trencherous of the trencherous places, and you ain't even paying attention. You just a little nigga. You just a little nigga running around. You feel me? Shit spooky.
Where exactly I was. I grew up in the Gloucester estate, but at the time when you're 7, 8, 9 years old, you don't see the crime. You just see older people hanging around in the streets, but you don't know what they're doing. But we used to go outside every summer, play football, running around.
I don't know what's going on for real.
The transition was when they knocked down the Gloucester estate.
You don't even know. Nigga just got into a shootout the other day. You don't even notice when you a kid what's going on. Niggas be gone for a minute. You don't be knowing. Niggas be in jail. You don't know what's going on. You just know niggas ain't there now.
Football, running around, and the transition was when they knocked down the Gloucester estate. And
you get older, you start getting older, you start realizing like, damn, son, we living in the fucking hood. Like, it's the trenches. Yeah, it's the trenches. Once you get older, you start really realizing like, damn, this is poverty. This shit fucked up. This shit ain't never clean over here, nothing. I ain't realize how dirty my block was till I got older. I'm like, this shit is a piece of shit, yo. Yo, real shit though. You just run around that shit as a kid. You ain't paying attention. Like, this fucking block is dirt. The whole curb dirty as hell. Like, this shit is just nasty for the nigga. Fucking needles on the floor. All kind of shit. You don't even... Bro, I'm telling you. You gotta enjoy that. Yo, listen, youth. Enjoy the youth while you got it. Running over crack pipes. All kind of shit. Nigga ain't even... noticing how filthy your hood is till I got older. I'm like, this bitch is nasty up here.
97, we moved to...
You know what's fucked up when you say, I can't raise my kids around this.
It was when they knocked down the Gloucester estate, and 97, we moved to the new sort of building that meant to be much nicer, which it was in terms of appearance, but that's when I moved into year 7, and that's when I started finding out, oh, this is where I am in Peckham. So the gangs, the crime, the violence, you become more aware of it.
You were recruited by the Peckham Boys. Can you speak about how that kind of first came to be?
Yeah, I mean, with the Peckham Boys, it was a thing that where my older brother was kind of affiliated with them already. And he used to come back home, tell me stories, and he used to think like, wow, who are these guys? Because everyone had nicknames, so it's like the Avengers or the sort of Mutant Hero Turtles, whatever it is. So it was literally... I was still kind of wanting to play football. So year 7, year 8, And the majority of year 9, I kind of kept away from that. I saw them, I thought they was cool people, and I was known to quite a few of them, but nothing where I was kind of involved. There was an incident one day, I took my brother's hat without his knowledge, and I was walking down the street heading home, and where our house is, by the Peckham Pole swimming pool in the library, is where everyone hangs around. So we live just on the house, the new build houses there. And as I was walking by, one of the Peckham boys came over and said, "Oh, let me see that hat." Usually when someone says, "Let me see that hat," or "Let me see that phone," whatever it is, they're trying to rob you. And I'm like, "No, we can't see the hat, what are you doing?" And they're like, "Give me the hat." Then someone else who knew who I was came over and said, "Oh, what are you doing? That's Carly's little brother." He's like, "Oh, I didn't know. Oh, you're one of us, man." And that was my recruitment process. So the next day when I'm walking past, they're like, "Where you going? Come." And literally I was a Peckham boy from there.
For anyone who might not know.
Nigga said, "Yeah, pull up. Pull up." Nah, that's the thing. Nah, pull up. Says then nigga, I'm on the block.
When I'm walking past, they're like, "Where you going? Come." And literally I was a Peckham boy from there.
For anyone who might not know, can you just kind of explain like what the Peckham Boys are and kind of how the gang structure in like South London works?
Yeah, I mean, the Peckham Boys were, people don't like to say the word gang, but it was a gang. We used to run around terrorising other areas run around trying to terrorise us. The older lot, there's a hierarchy, so there used to be the PMS, which is the Peckhamans, then there was the YPB, which is the Young Peckham Boys, then there was the YYPB, which I was part of, which is the younger Peckham Boys, and even goes down to the PKs at the time, which was the Peckham Kids. And some of the stuff we would do at our age was very trivial stuff, like your petty street robberies, and then you'll sell drugs for the older lot, and they will go to places like Deptford and New Cross, have beef with the ghetto boys from there. And then I think as you get older, that's when the criminality sort of changes and becomes more serious. Mainly my thing at the time was robbing phones. We used to go robbing people's phones, and you get about £80, £100 a phone. So as a 14, 15-year-old, that's a lot of money. I can go now and buy the latest night trainers, whereas before my parents would buy me that one pair of trainer which I would have had for the whole year. Now I can go and buy 3, 4 without their kind of knowledge. So I wouldn't say it was making crazy amount of money, but it was money indeed. When we kind of got to like 16, 17, that's when you start selling drugs, and with that you're kind of making a bit more money. So you may be making like £400, £500 weekly kind of thing, yeah. For me, the crime sort of escalated. I tried to go to college so many times. So my first year I went to Richmond College and studied A-levels, 4 A-levels. Because of my behaviour and stuff, I had issues with my parents at home, and then I left, and I was 17 at the time. And I remember I was playing for Fisher Athletic at the time, they're now called just Fisher FC, but Fisher Athletic at the time. Got a part-time job at Peacocks, and then was also selling weed. So I was doing all of those things at 17 by myself, living on my own, and it became too much. So something had to go, and it was education first. So I quit education at the time. I quit my job at Peacocks and I was trying to concentrate on the football and selling drugs. And it just came to a point one day, one of my friends told me, "Oh, I got a security van robbery." I'm like, "Security van, what's that?" He's like, "Oh, those people carry the suitcases with the money." I said, "I'm not doing that, that's crazy. I can understand that little things we do, but you're telling me," I said, "No, I'm not doing it." The next day, he went and done it, and he came back with £10,000 in cash. And I was like, that's the first time I've ever seen that amount of cash, and then my head was spun.
Nigga said, "Nigga, I'm doing it next time." Yeah, you see a nigga, when you doing it again? When you doing that shit again?
£10,000 in cash, and I was like, that's the first time I've ever seen that amount of cash, and then my head was spun. I was like, when are we next going?
When you next going?
I remember in 2006, I started wanting to get back involved in football. I kind of stopped, and I signed for Ilford FC. I was playing the reserves, first team reserve, and I was doing quite well. I was getting a lot of goals, and then I remember at the time, a gentleman called Mark Butler from Ashford Town, Middlesex, signed me. And I remember I was making my debut for Ashford Town, Middlesex, and we were going to play against Folkestone FC. And on this Friday, I met with some old friends from Peckham who was also doing the robberies. They had planned a robbery the next day with one of my friends, Javari Crichton. And I said, "Yeah, no, I can't come and make my debut." They're like, "You sure?" Like, yeah, you guys go. The next day, I'm on a coach with my team. Javari called me that day in the morning, and he said, "Oh, I've done the robbery, but I think these guys are trying to bump me." They tried to bump you? How? He's like, "I've done the robbery, but they're saying that the money's not in. There's no money in there, but I'm trying to call them, and they're not answering and so on." So he's like, I can see them as well. They're trying to pretend they're not there. So he said, oh, call your brother, see if you can sort it out. So I tried to call my brother. My brother said, oh, let me see what I can do. But I think Javari was quite impatient, and he's gone on there and had an argument with him, and one of the guys had ended up stabbing him. So I remember one of the guys that I knew called me and said, stabbing him.
Shaft him. Be patient.
He's gone on there and had an argument with him, and one of the guys had ended up stabbing him. So I remember one of the guys that I knew called me and said, oh my God, I think Javari's dying. I think Javari's dying. I'm like, what do you mean? He says he's on the floor, just being stabbed. His eyes are not open, his eyes are closed. Now I'm kind of facing two worlds, because this world where I am right now is the football world, where I'm not involved in any criminal. No one knows about my history or background. And now this is kind of infiltrating my reality right now. So it's like, I'm trying to keep calm, and people are kind of looking around because I'm kind of shy. Like, what do you mean he's dying? What do you mean he's dying? So people looking around like, what's going on? And I'm saying, look, call the ambulance, make sure you call the ambulance. So I kind of hung up the phone in my head that, you know what, the ambulance has come, he's made it, he's alive, and everything's going to be cool once I finish the game. We lost 3-1 that day. I made my debut, but as soon as I switched on my phone, I saw so many messages and missed calls and voicemails. And I just knew. So before I could even listen to them, I called my brother. My brother was like, oh, I'm sorry, man, I'm sorry. And I just knew that Javari had been killed.
Damn. RP. Yeah. Damn.
My brother's called me up, don't go to mum's house in Peckham. Armed police are here looking for you. So I'm thinking, what? And at this point, I had like lots of items in my house, but I didn't know the police didn't know where I lived. So I just panicked though. So I called a girl that I was seeing at the time as well. I said, look, come to my house quickly. I just piled all the new clothes and everything into her house, all the money put it all in bin bags, told her to take it, all the drugs that I was starting to sell again, put it all in there. She took them. Then I went over to my mum's, who was down the road, and see what the commotion was, and that there was a helicopter there, armed police there, and I've kind of gone to them like, all right, guys, I'm who you're looking for, I'm Robert Kasenga. They're like, move. I'm like, no, I'm the guy you're looking for. They went, oh, get down. They brought out their machine guns, like, get down. So I put me on the floor, had my hands behind my head, and they got me up, and the officer came over and said, yes, we're arresting you on suspicion of murder. I'm like, what? Murder for what? They took me to police station in South London, Wolf Road police station. And at that point, like, I was still being quite arrogant. I'm like, you guys got the wrong guy, you're just wasting my time, you're wasting everyone's time here. Then 2 other officers approached me, and they said, oh, we're from Flying Squad, and we're arresting you for conspiracy to rob. That's when my heart sunk. I was like, oh, yeah. Because I was definitely involved in robbery. So, but the next day when they done all the interviews, the robberies they brought up had nothing to do with me. I'm like, oh, yeah. I was like, these robberies you guys said on this day, I was here, I was there, nothing to do with me. So I was released on bail under investigation. But at that point, I should have just stopped. Like, it's hot, but at that point, like you said, you're also used to the money. And then I continued to do the robberies. And then on the 13th of March, we went and done a robbery, Rains Park train station. £27,000 from the train station was robbed, and ended up getting caught. And that's when everything kind of changed. I remember I was hiding. I was a getaway driver. I went with 2 young people. We robbed the train station, making our way back home. As I got to Wimbledon area, I think someone had spotted a car. A police officer started walking towards the car. I didn't know it was a police officer at first. He's walking, all of a sudden he's trying to open my door, like, police, open up. Then I sped, hit the car in front of me, ran around, drove. And what I used to do, I always used to wear dark clothing as overalls, but underneath I'd wear sort of bright coloured clothing, or sort of like a football jersey, whatever. So my whole thing was that if I had to discard my clothes and all of a sudden they're looking for someone dark.
Yeah, they looking for your nigga in all black, nigga. You got all colourful red and, yeah, do not fit the description. Wrong man.
Jersey, whatever. So my whole thing was that if I had to discard my clothes, and all of a sudden they're looking for someone dark clothing, but now I've got bright colour clothing and I'm running in football gear, they stopped me. I'm like, oh no, I'm just a jogger. That was my kind of plan. But anyway, I ran into some garden and hid there for ages. I remember there's a police helicopter up and down, and in my head I was like, oh, my missus is gonna be, this guy's meant to go and pick her up. But I thought, let me just stay here. And at one point, I could hear like snaffling or something, like sniffling. I'm like, what's that? And I thought, oh, don't tell me there's a dog in this garden. And I looked up and there's a police officer with his radio, and he threw his dog over, and I literally ran into the back of the garden of the house. There was a woman in there with her daughter, and she screamed, because just imagine this big 6'2" guy just running inside your house. At this point, I should have just given up. I don't know what I thought I was doing. I ran upstairs and barricaded myself in one of the bedrooms or the bathroom, I can't remember. And they're like, open up, and I'm trying to use all my strength. I'm like, really, truly, where the hell am I going? But then they broke in the door. The officer gave me one punch. I think that's the hardest punch I've ever felt. Like, hit me to the floor, and they just started beating the shit out of me. And I always used to like say, I'm gonna sue the police. I mean, and they had their dog, like this big Rottweiler. Like my arm is all, like, even to this day, I've got all the scars, and this was like the big puncher there. Like the dog was just chewing my arm, and like I'm like, the dog's chewing me, he's biting me. They're like, shut up, they're kicking me. And I always thought, I'm gonna sue the police for this, but I thought, actually, end of the day, you run into someone's house, the police don't know if you've got weapons or not, but their first thing is, let's protect this family. So by every means, they had the right to beat me up. But then I went to, they took me to the police station, and then they take me to the hospital to get a tetanus jab. Then went to court the next day, and then I was remanded. They told me, I'm like, remanded? I thought I was gonna get bail. They're like, no, you're being remanded. I broke down in tears. I never cried so much. I was hyperventilating. And I was like, what do you mean? You're going? They said, you're going to Feltham. I was like, and at this point, you're hearing all this violence that goes on in Feltham. I was like, how has my life turned out like this? I was intelligent in school. I was in top set. I was good at football. I just signed for Ashford Town. What am I doing going into prison? I just couldn't sort of fathom, like, what have you done with your life? They gave me like 2 or 3 different sentences, which altogether ended up me being in prison for 8 years.
Can you just kind of speak about your experience of being in prison?
Yeah, I mean, prison was tough in regards to just being away from your friends and family and not being able to do the things you wanted to do. You can see people going out and enjoying themselves, and just stuck in your cell, especially in the summer. I was always quite entrepreneurial, so every prison I went to, I was kind of the go-to guy. I opened up a betting shop and a bookies and a casino, and the casino was the big money maker, man. I used to have a blackjack table, and literally I would loan you. We used to make, you can buy sort of arts and crafts sort of pieces, and we used to get the matchsticks, and that would be the chips. So I'll loan you maybe £50 worth of chips. Each chip cost £5, and all you have to do was give me back my chips, and whatever you got on top, that's your profit, kind of thing. So that's how I kind of kept myself occupied while I was in prison. But I also studied, so I went and done a degree in criminology and social policy, which was funded by the Open University. And that taught me a lot about myself and about my environment. So I went and done a degree in criminology and social policy, which was funded by the Open University. And that taught me a lot about myself and about my environment.
And by the time you got released 8 years later, how do you think you changed as a person?
Yeah, so I was released on the 24th of February 2015. And I said, what can I do to make sure I don't go back to jail? First thing, don't hang around with the same people you used to hang around with. Because I looked at it like, these people didn't visit you in prison, they didn't send you money. So why are you going to go back and hang around with these people that forgot about you? Secondly, spend more time with my family, right? Because the more you spend time with your family, the more you don't want to be away from them. And thirdly, it was just about trying to be legit. I knew I didn't want to go and work for someone, but I'd made plans. But initially, you come out of prison, you're broke. I was making a lot of money in prison. I've come out of prison now, I can't make money. I can't go and open up a shop or a betting shop or a bookies. So I literally went and done a night shift at a bagel factory called Mr. Bagels in Hackney Wick. And I remember just working there, using that money to fund the football club. We used to go out fundraising with buckets outside the Tesco's. I remember a company called H Group was buying Mr. Bagels. I approached them and said, look, I've just come out of prison. I use this job to fund my football club. Then he started sponsoring the football club. Then he put me in a salary because I was good at marketing, getting my story out there. And through the back of that, he put me in a £28,000 a year salary, like a year after coming out of jail. And then just build up the football team over and over again.
That's fire.
Just knowing how I was as a young person, knowing that I was so good at football, I had opportunity.
These shits is good stories just cause it's like show you that even though you did some fucked up shit in your life, you can always change. Like you can always change and be a better person. Like I ain't gonna lie, that shit is fire. Yeah, this shit is fire right here. I like this. I like what they doing with this little channel right here. This shit showing you that it ain't the end of the world. And some people think they go to jail and get a fucked up record. Some people think that's just the end of the world. There's millionaires, billionaires out here. They get fucked up records.
How I was as a young person, knowing that I was so good at football, I had opportunities and I messed it up. I didn't want the young people to follow in that journey. So what more than provide them with a platform and with lived experience and say, you know what, you guys don't have to do this because I went through this. This is a different angle.
And for young people, how do you think sport or being part of like a football club can impact their life positively?
I mean, sport for me is a unifier. Like for example, right, we're in Hackney Wick, right, and we provide football for the whole borough. We've got young people who come from Homerton, from Dalston, from Hackney Wick, from London Fields, from Stoke Newton. All these areas don't get along. They don't get along at all. But we bring them all together to come and play football and hoping to build that familiarity. God forbid later on in life, they both kind of join gangs, right? That can save their lives because if there's an issue, someone say, oh, nah, leave him alone, man. I used to play football with him when I was 8 at Hackney Wick. I know his mum. So that familiarity can also sometimes aid.
Sometimes, but these little niggas now today, fuck that. These little niggas today also, fuck that nigga. I don't care, I used to play football with them. Yeah, it's over. The young generation don't give no fuck about nothing, nigga. You don't give a fuck about none of that.
8 at Hackney Wick. I know his mum. So that familiarity can also sometimes aid, but also just the opportunity that we provide. Like, for example, the tournament I run every year, the 32 Borough Cup. London has 32 boroughs. World Cup has 32 teams. So my whole ethos was, why can't I bring all these young people from London together who don't know each other, who are scared to go to neighbouring boroughs just because of these fake borders? So actually, you guys could be friends. I have over 25 people that I know that have been killed. Some of them didn't reach the age of 16. Some of them didn't reach the age of 18. Some never 21. Some of them never got to go on holiday. Didn't get to experience having children. My daughters are like my best friends. And if I never had them, I don't know where I would be, what would motivate me. So you.
Yeah, when he just said that, right? I showed y'all him before in the picture with me and him in prison when I was locked up. My man's baby James. My man's baby James went to jail when he was 16, right? 16, he got locked up for picking up. I could talk about this shit because he got sentenced for it and he went to prison for it. He went to jail for picking up bullets after a shooting. So they caught him picking up the shells after a shooting. He got 3.5 years for that, right? He came home. Well, we was locked up together. My boy was a virgin. He never got pussy before. He was 16, he was a virgin. Went home 19. 19 he came home. Got a girl. We start hanging out and shit together from jail. He was from Yonkers. My boy did mad shit. Went back, got back out here, got right back into the beefing. Got into a shootout. Didn't shoot nobody. Shot out. He did a shooting. Allegedly. This is what he's in jail for though. Did a shooting and got caught. Got the camera footage caught it. Nobody got hit. They did an indictment. They did a RICO on his gang, on his crew, on his team, and he got 13 years, bro. But I say that to say this, like, he did 3.5, then he just did 30. Now he's doing 13, bro. He only had one girlfriend ever, so he just got pussy really for the first time, bro. Never been on an airplane, never been on a trip, never been to Miami. So niggas out here is doing 25, 30 years, bro. Niggas ain't never even get to live. Niggas get second chances, man. Take advantage of that shit. That's why I'm going with it. Like, just take advantage of your. If you've been locked up, take advantage of your second chance. Cause my man came home for like 8 months, and he went to jail 16, a virgin. Came home, got a girl, and that probably was the only bitch he fucked. That's probably the only bitch he ever fucked before was her when he was fucking. And you know she left him. 13 years. His mom and dad passed away. Rest in peace. Like, this is my nigga. His mom and dad passed away the first 2 years of his bid. On the new 13-year bid. Like, it's fucked. But shit's crazy. But just, you know, take advantage of life, my nigga. Even if you never been locked up, nigga, go do something. Even if you never been locked up. Fuck if a nigga been locked up or not. Fuck all that shit. Go do something, nigga. Enjoy life. Because this shit is short. This shit is real short. Niggas is dying every day.
If I never had them, I don't know where I would be, what would motivate me. So you and I think with young people, you guys forget that gang era that you have, age is only between 18 to about 24. That's a small segment of your life. You still got to reach 40, you still got to reach 50, you still got to reach 60. You're not going to be a gang member at 60, are you? So the main thing is that don't risk your life for this small period of your life when there's so much more life to live.
Wow. 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 Not that bad.
Between 18 to about 24, that's a small segment of your life. You still got to reach 40, you still got to reach 50, you still got to reach 60. You're not going to be a gang member at 60, are you? So the main thing is that don't risk your life for this small period of your life when there's so much more life to live.
I remember he had a knife in his jaw.
What my nigga Charlie say? And that right there! You gotta have this shit with the Charlie. And that right there! That's fire in the booth, nigga. Fuck is you talking about? That was the truth. That was the truth, my nigga.